Michelle Bachmann, we saw her look kind of off camera at the Tea Party response. Saturday Night Live had some fun with it. Take a look.
The economy was headed for disaster, as you can see from this chart. It's not a pretty picture, is it? Yet, instead of addressing our economic problems, this president's policies have made them worse, as this next chart clearly shows. That's right. Under our current president, we've gone from this to this.
In her honor, we can look, somewhere into vaguely into the middle distance if we like.
That skit was so inevitable. You just expected that was going to happen. We're joined now by Christina Bellantoni, the associate politics editor at CQ Roll Call. Christina, please make sure you're looking at the right camera. Straight ahead there. Christina, let's get started with the big political story today. Obviously, everybody's talking about Egypt, but in politics, John Huntsman possibly running for president in 2012, possibly stepping down from his position as ambassador to China. What do you think of this? Is this very surprising, and do you think it actually plays out in the next 2 years, or are we talking about 5 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, it is surprising to me. I think that you'll recall when President Obama named him to be the ambassador, everybody was praising the Obama administration for this brilliant move. You're taking somebody who would be a very strong potential rival and making sure that they are out of your way and now a team player in your administration. But it also presents a pretty strong GOP primary problem if he is actually going to try and run in 2012, because he's out there. He's going to need to defend the Obama administration in defending his own work over the last 2 years, and then at the same time trying to run against it and saying he should be president. So I'm not sure how far this is going to get to go, but he was an attractive candidate 2 years ago, which is one of the reasons why the administration got him out of the way.
And of course, lots of Republicans see an opening for themselves. I guess the other issue that you hear talked about a little bit is the idea of being the second Mormon in the race, that you're eating into something. I've got to think, though, Mitt Romney is at least somewhat threatened by this. I mean, if you come in here with the kind of money that John Huntsman can bring, should he run, it would eat into the natural base there.
Yeah, there's definitely that. I mean, frankly, Mitt Romney's religion is sort of the least of his problems in this era of, Tea Party conservative primaries right now. I mean, I think his healthcare position in Massachusetts is going to be far more of a detriment than any sort of discussion he might have about his faith. So I don't necessarily look at that as being the biggest issue here. I think it's more about, what Huntsman was able to accomplish when he was governor, sort of how he's able to command the national stage and, what his relationship really is with President Obama.
Christina, this week was supposed to be President Obama taking that State of the Union message on the road. He did Wisconsin last week, Pennsylvania on Wednesday, the innovations agenda. We're really going to only be talking about Egypt, it seems like. And inevitably, that means the stories will be written that another crisis has come up when the White House is trying to focus on jobs. But how hard will this be for the White House? And is this going to stall the momentum that they seem to have over the last couple weeks to really make that pivot to the biggest domestic issue that Americans are worried about?
Yeah, it is definitely a stall and causing some anxiety within the White House. And what they're trying to do is take a step back and not get too involved in what's happening. But as everybody is fearing that this could be sort of a domino effect and that other uprisings could happen in the Middle East, that creates a big problem for the United States, both potentially on the economic front, but then also politically. They don't want to appear too heavy-handed or that they had any role in this, and they want to, let these uprisings be peaceful and play out. All of those images that you've been showing today on this, those are all mostly young people, far younger than the leaders in power. And that's something that President Obama talked quite a bit about, over the last few years, talking about giving power to young people and getting more involved in their government or bringing democracy, to different parts of the Middle East. So yeah, it's a huge concern for them. Will they still talk about the economy and focus on U.S. problems? Of course. They can't focus every energy over there, but it is something they're closely monitoring.
And Christina, remarkable that just 6 days ago we had a State of the Union where Egypt was mentioned. Not at all. Didn't come up at all. It's just another one of those examples of how the White House can surprise you. Christina Bellantoni, thanks for being here. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Karen and Rick.
All right.
Thank you.
That does it for this edition of Top Line. For Karen Travers, I'm Rick Klein. Twitter.com/Rick Klein. Twitter.com/Karen Travers. You've got to think David Axelrod is glad to be out of there in the middle of all of this. This is his first week out.
He's going back to Chicago, and they're going to get 20 inches of snow, so it's not really a welcome home for him.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.